All right, let's talk about algebraic inequalities, writing them to solve real-life scenarios. All right, quick review. We have the greater than symbol. We have the less than symbol. We also could have other words that mean those, like more than or fewer than. If we put the bar underneath those symbols, now we're talking about greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And once again, there are lots of phrases here in real life that can mean those, like at least, at most, minimum, maximum. Feel free to come back to this part of the video if you need to help you interpreting word problems on your own. All right, here's an example. The soccer team's minivan can hold a maximum weight of 1,400 pounds. If 6 kids will be driven to a soccer tournament and the driver weighs 240 pounds, what will be the maximum average weight for each kid? All right, what I would recommend on these kind of problems is finding the word or phrase that means the inequality symbol. And I've highlighted it here for you, the word maximum. And I would also highlight the number that comes soon afterwards in that same sentence. So I did that for you. It's a maximum weight of 1,400 pounds. Now, you can look up the word maximum in our chart that I mentioned earlier. You can see here it means less than or equal to. The reason it means less than or equal to is because the maximum weight means that's the highest it's allowed to be. So it could be equal to it, but it also could be less. Now, here's the part you gotta get right. Where do we put that 1,400? Well, since it came a few words after the word maximum, after means to the right, we are going to keep that 1,400 to the right. If you think that we can all of a sudden switch the order, I got news for you. That is not going to work. Keep that in the same order that we saw in that first sentence. Now, the other sentences. We know 6 kids means 6. We know 240 pounds means 240 pounds. The problem said what will be the maximum average weight for each kid. Well, that's the unknown, so we're going to pick our variable. And since we're talking about the average weight for each kid, the word each is something I've told you earlier, back when I gave you the video reviewing equations. The word each can mean multiplication. So each kid, and there's 6 kids, so we're going to take 6 times the average weight. We can call that A for average or W for weight. Now we just got to figure out what's going to go between the 6W and the 240. Since the 1,400 is the total maximum weight that the minivan can hold, you need to think in your head, how do we get totals? Well, in real life, if we were finding the total weight that the van's going to hold, we would take the weight of all the kids, add it to the weight of the driver, and that would give us the total weight that we happen to have. And that's why we're going to be adding in between the 6W and the 240. Now, the next 2 examples I'm going to give you are not going to have any of those key words from the chart. That means greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, or even greater than or less than. So we're going to have to do a little bit of thinking as to what inequality symbol makes sense. First, let's read this. It says the soccer club decided to raise money for a charity. Their goal is to raise $750. A local business decided to give a donation of $150. The rest of the money will be raised by doing car washes this weekend at a rate of $8 per car washed. How many cars do they need to wash to reach their goal? All right, once again, I would try to find the words that mean the inequality symbol, but this one doesn't have any of those words. But it does talk about the goal of raising $750. And ladies and gentlemen, that $750 is what I would call the total. Normally, with inequalities, we normally put the total to the right of the inequality symbol. If you saw the last word problem, we did that on that one. So what inequality symbol is going to make sense to put before this 750? Well, notice what I underlined. We are trying to raise money for a charity. In real life, we would be very happy if it ended up equaling the goal of $750. But if we're raising money for a charity, we'll take as much money as we can get. So being greater than or equal to the 750 makes sense in this real life situation. I'm not telling you that greater than or equal to always makes sense, but for raising money for a charity, we would want to be equal to the goal or go higher if at all possible. That's why greater than or equal to makes sense. Now, what about the other key parts of this problem? We know a donation of $150 is $150. We know it's $8 per car washed. Well, 8 means 8. The word per can mean multiplication, just like the word each that we had in the other word problem. So that's going to be $8 times the number of cars that we're washing. And as I highlighted here in purple, we don't know how many cars, so we're going to make that our variable. Last thing we got to figure out, what's going to go between the 150 and the 8C. Well, kind of like the last word problem that I gave you. The way that you would get the total amount of money that you're going to raise is you would take the donation money, add it to the money earned from washing the cars, and that would give you the total. So once again, that's going to be adding. The only way you would really have subtracting is if there was like a problem that dealt with a coupon, that would be subtracting away. Or maybe you had key words like removed from, that would mean subtraction, or decreased by, that would be subtraction. But pretty much when you have total situations like we did on these two word problems, you're going to be adding those pieces together. One more problem. Melissa only has $100 budgeted for taking her family out for dinner. Her meal costs $10. If there are 5 other people in her family, what will the average cost of each of their meals need to be to work with her budget? All right, once again, can you find the total? Melissa only has $100. That's the total amount of money that she can spend max. Now, only has $100 budgeted. If you understand budgets in real life, you do not want to go over that budget. And she only has that much money budgeted. So on this problem, being less than or equal to makes perfect sense. Let's interpret the other pieces. We know her meal was $10. We know there's 5 other people, as I highlighted in blue, in her family. We do not know what those other 5 members' average cost is going to be for each of their meals. Here's that word each again that I have highlighted in purple. We do not know the average cost of their meals, so let's pick a variable. How about C for the cost? In real life, how would you find out how much money Melissa's going to spend? You would take her $10 and you would add it by the money that is spent from the meals from the 5 other family members. Once again, this is going to be adding to get the total.